now move committee members to a presentation by Computek College, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Abbas Mehboob Hirji, faculty at Computek College and the incoming Vice President for Technology and Cybersecurity Services. I'll begin by stating our full support at Computek College for Bill 194. Across multiple days in September, we hosted a variety of workshops discussing the implications of Bill 194. We do not presently have any specific expertise in the field of privacy, and though we are growing that, my comments today will be specifically around cybersecurity and AI. At Computek College, we have taken a very clear delineation on how we approach AI and cybersecurity. It is one thing, our faculty tell us, to understand how to use AI for security, and it is quite the other to actually secure AI itself. To give you a simple example, it is wonderful that we can use an AI product or a large language model like ChatGPT to warn staff or to train staff about a malicious email. But what if that same ChatGPT could be used to actually write a malicious email or even write a malicious form of malware, what is also known as polymorphous malware? It is quite powerful to be able to write and synthesize documentations using an LLM, but quite the other when that same LLM can be used for data exfiltration and data leakage. From our perspective, it is important to recognize the difference between using AI for security and securing AI. We believe that from a cybersecurity perspective, AI in the hands of good actors and bad actors have consequences, and Bill 194 allows us to create the necessary safeguards around this. You've probably heard this before, and our faculty re-emphasizes that cybersecurity is about people, process, and technology. And we believe and support Bill 194 because of three specific areas where we can help both from a securing AI perspective as well as AI in its use for security. Firstly, from a people, or rather from a process perspective, Bill 194 allows us now to implement a much more robust risk management framework when it comes to AI. As some of you might be aware, the NIST, which is based out of the United States, has released a version of an RMF, a risk management framework, specific to AI. And more importantly, what it does is that it creates, just as my colleague said before, certain categories of where AI can be used, cannot be used, and where they are used with certain limitations and controls. Something like the RMF framework, if we are able to execute through Bill 194, will not only allow us to have important controls, but monitoring, observability, and reporting that will support better use cases for AI. More importantly, if you look at NIST's implementation and what we are seeing even across the EU, there are talks about also creating some sort of a public registry around certain AI tools so that the public is informed about the use cases and the risks involved with using certain tools. We appreciate that Bill 194 will allow us to look at implementing tools like the NIST RMF or a localized tool created in collaboration with our partners. Secondly, as you might already be aware, the NIST, which is a standard framework that is used quite a lot in cybersecurity globally, alongside ISO and many others, NIST, as of October of this year, released the ARIA sandbox, or the ARIA sandbox. And this proposes very specific methodologies to test AI tools, from red teaming, blue teaming, and field testing. We find this to be a very, very important step for us to adopt such testing mechanisms. Not only do these testing mechanisms put AI tools through a very specific standardized tests, the reporting and the results are made public. And if you will, a risk register coupled with a very clear sense of how tools were tested and approved for use will definitely serve citizens well. And lastly, what we enjoy about what Bill 194 will allow us to do is to also look at a future where you might even operate AI through some form of a licensing system. What is allowed to be used and what isn't, and to what extent. We see cases of this emerging out of the EU. We are at Computek College also looking at use cases coming out of the Middle East. And we find that Bill 194 allows for robust measures like licensing systems around AI that will again assist us with building trust and the right processes around AI. Our faculty at Computek College continues to do research in these fields. Not only did we host Bill 194 workshops, we continue to embed such topics within our curriculum and are training future generations to be equipped with the necessary tools to do the right governance, risk, and compliance around AI. In the near future, we are also looking to release courses around privacy by design and security by design, and we feel that we will be in a very strong position to support the necessary skill set required to upend Bill 194. I thank you for your time and would like to close by quoting our CEO, Murali Srinivasan, who says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. We appreciate the opportunity of going together with you on Bill 194 and look forward to assisting in whatever way we can. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, thank you, sir, for your presentation. MPP Glover and Wong Tom, you got 1 minute and 40 seconds left for questions.
Okay. Let me just ask a question of Ali Abbas from Computek College. You mentioned, when I saw the Information and Privacy Commissioner was talking about embedding principles of risk assessment principles of valid uses and risky uses of AI, or on no-go zones for AI. I saw you nodding. Would you agree that those principles of AI use should be embedded in the legislation?
I would agree with that, and this is something that our faculty would stand by as well. It is a concept that when we teach governance, risk, and compliance, we talk about by design and not something as an afterthought. When you look at these kind of implementations, looking at them from the standards of when AI products are being developed, not as an afterthought of what the output of the model is, but what data is being ingested and how that's being used, how that data is being encrypted, this would be a necessary step so that if it's embedded into legislation, it is something that you have to do at the get-go and not after an output is released. You do not want to be in a situation where an AI product is being put out there and is being given tabula rasa access to lots of data points, and then you start to analyze how it's used and analyze those data points with multiple algorithms as an afterthought. It should be at the very get-go. It should be by design, and we thoroughly support that approach.
Okay. Thank you so much for that response.
And I taught at Georgian College for a while, and that was a long time ago. And back in the day, the kids had to put their essays through a machine or a program that would check to make sure that there was no plagiarism. And now with the development of ChatGPT and other mechanisms, that whole world has changed. So my question for each of you is, what would you identify as the high-risk AI uses that are going to become prevalent, and how, in a regulatory framework, do we effectively tackle those while allowing for innovation and allowing for the evolution of that innovation? And it seems to me we've got a moving target here. So how do we pin it down?
Thank you, MPP Saunderson. To the question, please.
I'll start with Mr. Hirji, please.
Thank you very much. I'll keep this brief, and I will say that for us at Computek College, one of the most intense threats that we see is the weaponization of AI and the hands by which some of these tools are being used. I'll give you an example. When we teach ethical hacking and security, we use a lot of open source. These are tools that you can use that are accessible without pay attached to it. You could go online today and download some of these tools and do active scanning, or what we call reconnaissance, on an environment to see what devices are connected. But before we even make the students do any of these activities or even learn about it, they do sign a waiver and go through a security training course to understand the responsibilities when using these tools. Now, these are specialized tools today. If you look at your LLM models that are out there today, these LLM models can actually write for you malicious code and malicious malware, which can be used by a completely lay actor and deployed into an environment, someone who has very limited technical skills. So for us, when we look at the biggest threat, 100% we look at LLMs and we look at social engineering techniques as the biggest threats that can be used and weaponized against citizens of Ontario.